for coming to AnimalCon 2022. Could you guys introduce yourselves and say who you're here with?
I'm Terry from Dragonwood Conservancy. We are a nonprofit. We work in conservancy with reptiles and amphibians. We've been in business in one form or another since 1963. This is Amanda.
Hi.
And we got somebody else who wants to say hello.
Yeah, so could you tell us about the friends you got going here?
Sure. So I'm a volunteer, and this is Basile. He's a Siamese crocodile, and the sound that you just heard is the sound they make when they're calling for their mother and they're a little nervous. These guys are not a big fan of bright lights, so it's probably the light that's freaking him out a little bit, but he is a year and a half old, and he's a critically endangered species.
I was under the impression that crocodiles only watched their young for a couple of weeks, but he's calling at a year and a half old. Do they watch them longer?
Siamese are one of the most talkative of all crocs, and even when he's 5 feet long, he's still going to be talking to you. They're a very vocal species. They are similar to the Cuban crocodile in terms of their habits and the niche that they fill in the wild, but they differ radically in terms of their immediate behavior. And one of them is the fact that these guys are so vocal, incredibly vocal. Unfortunately, it led to their demise in the wild.
Because they were easy to hear and spot out?
Yeah, exactly. And in early 1970s, they were listed as being extinct in the wild. They're making a comeback very slowly. We have about 450 now in the wild, thanks to releases and work with the local people.
How many do you have at your facility?
We have about 37 of those guys at the moment. The other little gentleman here is Zepp. He is an Orinoco crocodile. The Orinoco is one of the giant species, perhaps the longest of all crocodilians. Longest one ever measured was a little over 23 feet. They're remarkably beautiful creatures, and they were slaughtered for their hides. They used to number probably at least 1.5 million in the wild, and now the Colombian version of the Orinoco crocodile, there's only about 14 left, and as far as the Venezuelan population, there are perhaps 500 left, but they're spread out over a huge area, and in most cases they have trouble finding each other to breed.
How old is this one that you're holding?
This one is 3 years old.
When do they get full grown?
They never stop growing. They grow consistently throughout their lifetime. They slow way down. We know very little about optimum age limits for crocodilians, but what I will tell you is that we have breeding African slender-snouted crocs for which we have paperwork that they were brought in about 1918, 1917. So these animals are over 100 years old and they're still breeding and producing viable young.
What is each of yours favorite part about the job?
The animals. That and teaching. I like to teach. I enjoy teaching. What I would like to bring into the reptile community, if you'd like to refer to it as such, is the idea that we need to know a great deal more about these animals that we love. And I have nothing against people keeping animals as pets, as long as they are the right animals for the right people. I would like to see more kids getting into some science with these animals. It doesn't mean you have to become a scientist, you don't have to become a herpetologist, but at least learn about them.
Amanda, what would you say is your favorite part or favorite experience you've had working with these guys?
For me, I used to be a teacher actually, so I get really excited when kids want to come and interact with them and start them young, understanding that these animals are not necessarily dangerous. They're part of the ecosystem just like we are, and that they deserve our respect and our care. When adults come and they ask questions, and there's so much mythology around these animals, that as they begin to understand that these animals are just beautiful, unique, amazing creatures, and that they don't look necessarily cute or fluffy, but that they're just equally majestic and worthy of our care is very gratifying to me.
Is there anything you guys would like to share in closing?
Well, I would be irresponsible if I didn't share the fact that we have a Facebook page, Dragonwood Wildlife Conservancy, and we, as any nonprofit group, desperately need donations. The Siamese is what I would call a limited success story. Success is when we can take them off the endangered species list. You can reach us through the Facebook. Again, I'm Terry. I'm the director of the Conservancy, and we will always get back to you.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.